You're watching Orange Vinyl TV Tips and Tricks. This weekend I was at a local venue filming a band, and there were two major things that I took away from it. The first one was about setting up your sound before filming. I had one camera that I was going to use for sound for the entire evening. And while I didn't really think about the rest of the cameras in terms of setting up their sound, one thing I realized after when I got back into editing is that I needed all of that sound to sync up all the different pieces of video. So while you may be thinking, well, that's kind of obvious, setting up your levels so that all of them are pretty much close to each other is something that I really should have thought about before going into it. While I was able to claw some of it back, I did have to do some of the syncing manually, which takes a bit of time, and really in Final Cut Pro there's a system that can do that for you. So you're pretty much wasting your time, and it does make the process of editing a little bit more laborious. The second thing I did was take along a point and click camera, which I set up as a drum camera right in front of the drummer. So you may be thinking that a small point and click camera is going to have terrible image quality, and in low light it's going to perform terribly. And while yeah, it's not as good as a DSLR, you can't deny that, it was still great to have extra cameras there, and I ended up using that camera fairly often in the edit. So yeah, my situation was that I didn't have any other cameras. That was the best that I could get, and I'm so glad that I still considered using it and took it along, because I ended up getting a shot that I wouldn't have got otherwise. So going forward, I'm not going to restrict myself to only my best gear. Take a camera along that is a little bit subpar. It's not going to do as well as your DSLRs, but you might end up getting a shot that, while the quality is a little bit inferior, the content of the shot is so good that it just nullifies the game of clarity and sharpness.